Jai Baba friends.
Jai
Um,
Baba.
oh, I should view speaker, I guess, here. Okay. uh, Welcome to our our program on Adi K Irani. His birthday was September 4th. So we are celebrating with Karen's wonderful bio. That will be first, Karen Talbot, and then I'll show some videos, and I hope you have stories to tell. All right. So, Karen, are you gonna find something? Okay. Uh, There's the bio.
Okay, I'm in a new place in our house now, so hopefully this will work. Okay, Jai Baba, everyone, and thanks for listening. Here's an early picture, if you can see, of Adi. Adi Kaikhushru Irani was born on September 4th, 1903 in Ahmednagar, India. His parents were Kaikhushru Sarosh Irani and Gulmai Irani. His father actually owned the Aragon property that became Meherabad. His mother was a spiritual seeker who met the perfect master Upasani Maharaj. Adi's siblings were Rustom, Dolly, and Piroja. Rustom ended up marrying Mera's sister Franny. They had a good number of children, including Meru. His cousin Sarosh also became a devout follower of Meher Baba, and Sarosh was the only one in his immediate family that followed Baba. The others were not for him. And he was the one that ended up marrying Vilu and having their family and owning the Sarosh Motor Works, and he became a mayor of Ahmednagar over time. Adi's mother, Gulmai, followed the perfect master, Upasani Maharaj, and she met Baba through Upasani. When Adi was 18 years old, he met Baba in 1921 in Ahmednagar. Adi was one of Baba's earliest Mandali members. When Baba stayed at the hut on Ferguson Road, Adi joined him there. At Ferguson Road, he began being called Meher Baba, and after his college, Deccan College, each day, Adi would go to be with Baba in Pune at the hut. In 1921, Adi fell seriously ill with a high fever. Upasani treated Adi with quinine tablets, but Baba would also visit Adi every day, inquire about his health, give Adi water, and walk back and forth with him. Adi recovered sooner than expected and never forgot the loving care that Baba expressed at the time to him. Adi thought, my mother's or father's love is like a small pond when compared to Baba's, which is like an ocean. It is better I seek the love of the ocean. While attending Deccan College in Pune, Baba told Adi to remember that the chief duty of your life is to think of me. Baba made an exception for studying. Adi majored in business. And after a while, he decided he wanted to be with Baba rather than be in college. So he left college, which displeased his father. But as Adi said, there was nothing his father could do. In May 1922, Adi joined Baba and the men Mandali when Baba moved to Bombay and established Manzili Mean Ashram. So that shows how early Adi was with Baba and how he remained with him through Baba's lifetime and then for us. Baba said to Adi, One day, Baba walked alone with Adi behind the house where he sat. There he asked Adi, "Do you know who I am?" Adi replied, "I know that you are the chief disciple of Upasni Maharaj. More than that, I do not know." Baba said, "I will not tell you who I am today, but you will definitely come to know, and you will see that your name is known all over the world. Your future has deep significance in my work. With my love and your obedience of my instructions, you will prove to be a fit instrument for my work." Later, Baba added, "I will make you like Vivekananda." Ramakrishna gave Vivekananda the power to speak for him. Adi was overcome with joy and began thinking of joining Baba permanently. Adi was also in Nasik during this period, staying at his brother Rustom's house, which was next to Sarosh Motor Works. On one occasion, while Baba was in seclusion, he called Adi and told him, "What I have done for you, I have done for none. What I have done with you, I have done with none. You have deep connection with me. Your lower eye is eradicated, but your mind is still there, which troubles you." On March 24th, 1932, Baba and Adi shared a second-class cabin and sailed from Bombay to England. Adi accompanied Baba to the Devonshire retreat in 1932 on Baba's visit to the West. On May 13th, 1932, Adi was sent back to India as had been planned. Adi also traveled with Baba and others during Baba's visit to California in December 34 through January 35. Adi was in Hollywood with Baba during this trip. In 1936, Baba called Adi, Vishnu, Ajay, and Pandit the four pillars of Meherabad. Early on, they wanted Adi's father, Khan Sahib Kaikhushru Irani, to transfer the Meherabad property to Baba. And in March 4th, 1936, he did that. The father transferred the entire property to Baba out of his love for him. So it was actually in 1943 that Baba named Padri, Pandu, Adi, and Vishnu the four pillars of Meherabad. Amen. When Shanji, Baba's secretary, passed away in 1944, Adi became Baba's secretary. He drove for Baba, was his correspondent, and by driving for Baba, it also means that Baba would ask him to drive the Mandali, the Western women, others, and he did that for Baba. He was adept at reading Baba's alphabet board from a small outline. He could communicate Baba's thoughts. Now, his father did give the property to Baba, that was Meherabad. But here's this very sweet story. A few days before Khan Sahib died, Adi was surprised to find flowers strewn on his bed when he went to sleep at night. The next night again, his bed was covered with flowers. On the third night, he waited, and when he caught one of the servants in the act, Adi demanded to know who had instructed him to do such a thing. The servant told him that it was none other than the ailing Khan Sahib, his father. Adi confronted his father the following morning, and Khan Sahib, the father, admitted that he did it. "But why, father?" asked Adi. And the father said, "All these years, you have been telling me how great Meher Baba is, how he is like Zoroaster, our prophet. I did not believe you and tried to thwart you in your efforts to serve him. But now I know that you were right all along, and I ask your forgiveness. I wish to honor and worship your love for Baba. You and your mother were right, Adi. Baba is God, and his father folded his hands to a picture of Baba kept on the wall opposite his bed. Adi wrote and published a number of things. He wrote and published messages of Meher Baba in the East and the West, which I actually found a copy of. That's here. I also have this Avatar Meher Baba's unique 40th silence anniversary, July 10th, 1965. And this has the artis, prayers, and some other things in here.
Karen, can you move just a little bit to your right, because the sun is
coming in. Okay.
just a little bit, just a little tiny bit. That will do it. Let's see. Oh, you don't need to.
No, this will be perfect. This will work. He also wrote Who is Meher Baba, which is 101 pages. In December 1947, Baba had Adi come to Mera's pimple gown daily. So he was always working. He was always quite busy. He was also called to drive one of the cars whenever Baba took the women to the Sarosh cinema. And then the New Life came along in 1949. Adi was one of the Yeswalas, one of the 16 men who joined the New Life. When it was time to decide whether to continue to be in Plan 1, 2, or 3, Adi went back to Meherabad and took care of, at Ahmednagar, took care of details for Baba and lots of mail items and things of that sort. On March 14th, this is when the New Life had ended, in 1952, Adi and Gulmai met Baba at Meherabad. At that time, Baba instructed Adi to have his cousin Sarosh continue to pay for the safety deposit box at the Central Bank of India in Bombay, where Baba had kept the handwritten manuscript of the book he had written at Meherabad in 1925 through 1926. Adi actually came to the center in Myrtle Beach, all the 3 times that Baba went there. He accompanied Baba on his first visit to the US in 1952, along with Nilu, Meherji, and Sarosh. Duncan had already come earlier to help prepare for Baba's visit. Then Baba planned a 10-day stay to Meherabad in June of 52. When the accident occurred in Prague, Adi had already been in the car that had left for Meherabad, and they got there. But when they heard about the accident, Adi drove them back to Prague immediately the next morning. The people that were with Adi in that car were Meherji, Dr. Nilu, Dr. Duncan, and Gustaji. In July 1956, Adi traveled with Baba to the West again for Baba's visit. He accompanied Baba to the Longchamps Hotel in New York on July 22nd, where there was a special program for Baba. And Adi initially had been too shy to speak for Baba, but in 1956, 2 years after Baba gave up the alphabet board, Baba asked Adi to act as his representative at a news conference, and Adi was perfect. So from then on, he did a great job for Baba. Again, in 56, Adi stayed on the Meher Center, and then with Baba and others, that he visited Southern California for 3 days, and that was from July 31st to August 2nd. So the first 2 days were spent in Hollywood. The third full day was spent at Meherabad in Ojai. So he had actually gotten to Ojai right before the accident, and here he was again at Ojai. So Adi actually had a very close and wonderful relationship with Agnes Barron, and he did visit with her again. Adi accompanied Baba, Erich, Nariman, and Duncan to the Meher Center on the third and last visit in 1958. During this visit, he also visited Ivy Juice at her home in Washington, D.C. In 1963, Baba transferred the Kalchuri family, and that would have been Rama, Sheila, and Merna, from Meherabad to Kaikhushru quarters in Ahmednagar, and placed them under Adi's supervision so the children could get a better education at a qualified school in town. Soon Duncan, who was at Meherabad, also came to Kaikhushru quarters. So they all lived at Kaikhushru quarters, now the trust compound, in Ahmednagar during those years. When Baba dropped his body on January 31st, 1969, Adi made the necessary phone calls. Prior to that, he drove Gindi to Meherabad to attend to Baba. Gindi had a heart attack in Adi's office, and that's where it was, but he didn't tell anyone. When Adi returned to his office at Kaikhushru quarters, after Baba had dropped the body, he was at his desk for 48 hours continuously, eating his meals there, dozing a little, but then the phone would ring. No messages were sent out to the world until 4 p.m. because the Mandali were hoping Baba would revive. The telegram from Adi's office to all centers and lovers throughout the world would read, Avatar Meher Baba dropped his physical body at 12 noon, 31st January, to live eternally in the hearts of his lovers. After 1969, Adi made several speaking tours in the US and India. He came to the US in 1970. They arrived at the Meher Center, then traveled to Southern California. And again, he spent a day at Agnes Barron's at Meherabad and went to Santa Barbara. He reminisced with Agnes about Baba's 1956 visit to Meherabad. He visited us again in 76 and 77 and was a speaker at the LA Sahavas. He came back in 1979, where he spoke nightly at the Meher Center. He spoke weekly at the Ahmednagar Meher Baba Center, which many of us during visits to India in the 1970s attended. One of the main themes of Adi's talks was conviction for God, Baba, and he would recite couplets of Hafez, Jigar, Kabir, and other poets. In 1980, in March, the beginning of March, he traveled with Jack Small, Steve Berry, and Robert Dreyfus to Andra State and was on a speaking tour. He died of a heart attack on March 4th, 1980. They called Erich, and Erich said, get in the car, drive immediately, because if you get stopped, there could be problems with the police. So they sat Adi up, got lots and lots of ice, drove straight through the night, and got Adi safely back to Meherabad, where he was buried in the men's cemetery at Lower Meherabad. He compiled many Baba sayings and messages. His book is Just to Love Him. Great book. Lots of Baba's philosophy in the book. Talks and essays about Meher Baba, published after he passed in 1985. The Life Circulars of Meher Baba sent out throughout many years. He was Baba's secretary, and then they were compiled in 1968. A brief life sketch of Avatar Meher Baba, warning from Baba to his lovers. Another thing that Adi did was write the charter for Sufism Reoriented with Baba's uh, uh, blessings. Messages of Meher Baba delivered in the East and the West. Who is Meher Baba? He wrote for Meher Baba journals, The Awakener and The Glow. What Adi said about Baba. Next to Baba's love, Adi said he personally felt Baba's love most when serving as a channel for communication of his love and truth to others. Baba said about Adi, you know all about him, nothing more to be said about him. He has been with me for the past 30 years. And I'd like to close with two prayers. The first one is Adi's prayer. Call yourself a lover of Avatar Meher Baba, but you must be willing for your love of Baba to suffer labors and sorrows, vexations and anxieties, and lack of necessities, sickness, injuries, reproof, disgrace, humiliation, shame, correction, and contempt. Jai Baba will then be yours. And I'm going to end with the following prayer that he spoke before he would speak, especially I remember this in Myrtle Beach in 1979.
Karen, could you please repeat slowly that first prayer? Thank you.
Call yourself a lover of Avatar Meher Baba, but you must be willing for your love of Baba to suffer labors and sorrows, vexations and anxieties, and lack of necessities, sickness, injuries, reproof, disgrace, humiliations, shame, correction, and contempt. Jai Baba will then be yours. Adi K Irani. And now this is the prayer that I remember he gave in 1979 and is also in his book, Just to Love Him. Beloved Meher Baba, bless us all so that in the stress and strain of our daily life and the fluctuations of our mind, we learn to relax wholly and wholeheartedly and float on the ocean of your love and call for your breath of joy, your breeze of compassion, and your wind of strength to flood into every fiber of our body, every corner of our mind, and every space of our heart, to cleanse us of all our impurity, to make us worthy of your love, of your obedience, of your service, and above all, your pleasure. Jai Baba.
Thank you, Karen. That was wonderful. The whole.
And again, those two prayers are in the very beginning of this book, Just to Love Him.
Well, now we'll see a video that Ruthie made with through photos of Adi through his years, and also at the end of the video, Marvin Schaefer reads again that beautiful prayer, and I thought, well, I think we could hear it twice. He reads it beautifully. So, all right, folks, I will cue it up in a minute here now. Let's see. With me. That was a wonderful bio, Karen. It's so great to have you do this work.
You're the very sun behind our soon rising sun. Let us try to give our hearts to you. Every star reflects the glory of your smile. Let us ask only to be happy. If I knew I really loved you, I wouldn't mind the pain to wait 1,000 years to touch your face, to feel your grace, to have a trace of your love. You're the ancient one whose past is worshipped and remembered, and whose present is ignored and forgotten, and whose future advent is anticipated with great fervor and longing. If I knew I really loved you, I wouldn't mind the pain to wait 1,000 years to touch your face, to feel your grace, to have a trace of your love. Round the earth your love is flowing as a river wide and deep, making full and rich the harvest that each at time's end will reap. The light of new day now is dawning as a heavenly flower rare. In its heart we are discerning your face, Baba, dear and fair. If I knew I really loved you, I wouldn't mind the pain to wait 1,000 years to touch your face, to feel your grace, to have a trace of your love, to touch your face, to feel your grace, to have a trace of your love.
Beloved Meher Baba, bless us all, so that in the stress and strain of our daily life and the fluctuations of our mind, we can learn to relax wholly and wholeheartedly and float on the ocean of your love and call for your breath of joy, your breeze of compassion, your wind of strength to flow into every fiber of our body, every corner of our mind, and every space in our heart to cleanse us of all impurity and to make us worthy of your love.
So now we welcome your shares. If you have stories of times with Adi. And many thanks again to Ruthie who made these beautiful videos. We have such a wonderful collection of.
That was Marvin Schaefer reading the
What?
prayer.
It was Marvin, yeah. Wasn't that wonderful? Yeah. Yeah. I do have one more video of it's Pratap telling kind of a funny story about Adi. I thought I'd wait and see if folks have have things to share, but I will cue it up. Pratap, in his college days, with his friend Narendra Tati, would go over to Kushru quarters. They would go late, like around 9 o'clock. He said they go in quietly, and Adi would say, "Who's there?" And they would do their studies at night there and stay overnight. And Gulmai, Adi's mother, would be there, and they were very, very fond of her. And so anyway, he tells about that. He's a little hard to understand, but that's what he's talking about. He's talking about his times at Kushru quarters. And then he has this one funny story about Adi, which I'll play first. Okay, cue it up. Okay, this is the Adi story now.
Certain times you just say something.
Let me first share it.
About your personal life with Baba. And one story, a very interesting story, he told me, I do not know whether it has come in any of these books, but then what I remember from that story, it's a very interesting story. He said that he was appearing for some final examination, must be, I do not know, but then some examination which required the preliminary. He has to clear up the preliminary. And if he passes through that preliminary exam, then he would get the form for the appearing for the main examination. That was the condition. Now, somehow he could not clear up a couple of subjects, and the principal refused to grant him permission for appearing for the actual exam, main exam.
Betty, we're seeing you instead of the video.
Right, sorry. I just I wanted to tell you what he's talking about. Sorry, and I'll go back. He's talking about a time when Adi had to take an exam, or and for some reason, the person giving the exam would not give it to him. Maybe he had been late or had done something wrong so he had gone back to this person several times saying, please
don't tell us, don't tell the whole story, Betty.
Well, I'm wondering if people can understand him.
But try it, and if we don't, then you can tell.
All right, okay.
Start over.
I'm going to start over, yeah, okay. Okay. Yeah. All right.
In Mumbai, that they once or twice they expressed before me that Adi always speaks over some philosophical topics, and he never tells anything about his personal life, and it becomes a boring talk for us. I heard this, and once I just opened this topic before Adi, when we were both lonely, alone with each other. I told Adi, I asked Adi, Adi Kaka, why don't you tell some of your incidents about your personal life? So he very sternly said, then who is going to understand all these philosophies Baba has given? Who is going to understand that? If I keep on telling my own stories, I could not say anything because he abruptly was a little bit depressed and ultimately said that all these Parsis are very easy-going people. Adi himself being a Parsi, he said all these Parsis are all happy-go-lucky people. And then, but then he took note of my whatever I suggested. I tell him that at certain times you just tell something about your personal life with Baba. And one story he has started, a very interesting story. He told me, I do not know whether it has come in any of these books, but then what I remember from that story, it's a very interesting story. He said that he was appearing for some final examination, must be, I do not know, but then some examination which required the preliminary, he has to clear up the preliminary. And if he passes through that preliminary exam, then he would get the form for appearing for the main examination. That was the condition. Now, somehow he could not clear off a couple of subjects, and the principal refused to grant him permission for appearing for the actual exam, main exam. And Adi requested, but no, principal said, I won't allow you to appear for the main exam. Then he comes to Baba. Baba asked him, what has happened about your clear from your principal? Adi told very dejectedly that no, he is not allowing me to appear for the exam. This is a given form for appearing for the main exam. And then Baba said that why don't you request him? Just tell him, and he will listen to you. Adi goes, and Baba sends him back. Adi goes back and requests the principal as Baba suggested, but the principal is not to be agreed to give him form for the main exam. In spite of many requests, he just simply said no. And again, with a hanging, with a sad face, Adi comes to Baba and said, no, Baba, principal is very stern and he is not allowing me to appear for the main exam. Baba said, you are lacking in requesting him. Just go again. Just put little bit through, you are politely just put little bit pressure on him so that he may agree. Adi goes there again, and the principal shouts on him saying, have I not told you that I won't allow you for the exam, for appearing for the main exam? How many times I have to tell you? Go back, I am not going to listen to your request. Adi again comes back. Again Baba asks what has happened. He said, no, Baba, he is very stubborn and I am unable to convince him. Baba says, you again go to him again. Just pray for mercy. Just go again and request him. But Adi said that now he may get angry with me. So what? Doesn't matter. You go and request him. Adi again goes to the principal And the principal is so very angry with Adi. Hereafter, if you appear before me, I will ask my peon to throw you out of this compound. And again with a gloomy face, Adi comes back to Baba and says that Baba, it is just impossible for me now. It's unbearable for me to stand before him. And let us now stop requesting. But Baba says, no, try again. Try again. You just beg for his grace, for his mercy. And this time Baba said that if he refuses, you just catch hold of his feet. You just catch hold of his feet and pray to him, please grant me permission to appear for the exam. And now see the scene. There is a big table on the opposite end. The principal is sitting, and far away from him, Adi is sitting here. Now he cannot reach. He cannot reach the feet of this principal. So ultimately, somehow the principal allowed me to sit there and agreed to hear whatever he wants to say. But he was determined that I am not going to allow you for this exam. And let your year go waste. But then this is not within my principle. I just said, I just told you about it. And he is going through some of the papers, some of the his own papers, which official papers he was going through. And Adi is sitting in front of him, far away from, because the table is so big. And so many heaps of files are lying there, books and files are lying there. And he is going through some files. And what Adi did is that he bowed down. He under the table, he crawling, he went to the principal and caught hold of his feet and said, sir, if you don't allow him, I'm not going to leave your feet. And the principal was taken by surprise. He said, what you are doing? Do you know what you are doing? I am just unable to think, and this is the last chance I am just taking. Please help me. Please don't deny permission to me for the exam. And ultimately, the principal said, all right, come on, get away from now. I will grant you permission for appearing the examination. This story he told in the Bombay Center, and everybody was so very happy. It's a very funny story, funny and also very enjoyable story. Everybody enjoyed. So Adi was such a person, and in Mumbai, since from Mumbai, I had a very close connection with Adi.
Oh, there. So I hope you all.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope you all got the gist of that. That you had to crawl under the table to grab the feet. Candy.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, I have a cute Adi story. So, can I
Great.
tell it? Yeah.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
So, in the late 70s, I was in Meherabad, and I was very young and in Baba's love. so to speak. And I was whining to Baba, "Oh, Baba, please give me a sign. Give me a sign that you hear me." And as I was doing that, somebody rushed in from the trust office with a telegram. "There's a telegram, there's a telegram, there's a telegram for you, Candy." Well, so I got a rickshaw, and my friends also piled into the rickshaw with me. We zoomed over to the trust office, and there was Adi standing in front of his office holding the telegram in his hand with a big smile on his face. And so I rushed over and got the telegram, and I read it, and it said, "I love you, Robert." That was from my ex-husband. But written on the telegram, it said, "But Meher Baba loves you much more, Adi."
You wanted a sign.
Yeah, exactly. So then I put two and two together, and I realized, oh my God, my sign. And so, but always one to look a gift horse in the mouth. I asked Adi, just to make sure. I said, "So, Adi, do you always write on people's telegrams? Make comments?" And he said, no. He said, no. So anyway, that's my
A
Adi
beautiful story.
It's very cute. Yeah, my sign. And what was also funny was that when the person rushed in with the telegram, I immediately forgot that I was asking for a sign and thought, oh my God, a telegram. Oh, what has happened? Something has happened. So I immediately forgot about it and only remembered it when Adi handed me the telegram. Yes, so that was funny.
Thanks, Candy. Anyone else? Mikhail?
Well, there are no hands. Except Candy's hand is still up there. Maybe she has more
Candy's
stories.
so
Yeah.
extra special. It's hard to beat. It's hard to think.
Yeah, it was a beautiful story, Candy. So Baba, immediate,
It was, yeah, I know.
You want an answer immediate.
Yeah,
and
immediate.
And in a telegram.
I know. Got a telegram.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
So I didn't know Adi because I came after he passed away. But when I was thinking of coming to this Zoom, first of all, I think it's very important. I knew because I think that Mandali is still alive, not in the body, but with Baba. So just, coming to honor their service to Baba and to us all, actually. So I was thinking, Adi actually was in great connection with Israel because he was in connection with Kari Ben Shammai. Now, at that time, there were no diplomatic relationships with India. So everything had to go around, and so also Adele was involved. So Kari Ben Shammai was a great collector of any literature that was at that time, and there wasn't much literature at that time out in English. And so there are many letters between her and Adi and Baba I don't remember who else was the go-between to allow all these literature things to come to Israel. And there was also a problem to send money, because in Israel at that time, you couldn't send any foreign currency out without having a special permission to do so, because the financial state of the country was very poor. And especially when you do so with a country that you don't have a relationship with. So it was all go about, all like that. But Adi was the one whose office, I guess, what I see in my mind's eye at that time was piles of books, piles of pamphlets that he would produce and also get from other people who did them. And Carrie Ben Shammai was always asking to have them sent to her. So both these, Adi and Adele, were the ones to be in contact with Carrie about that. And these were things that were taken care of by Baba, because he, of course, sanctioned all these things when he was in the body. And later on, they were kept on by these mandali. So actually, Adi filled our Israeli library, which is kept by Etzion Baker, who was salvaged it when they were almost thrown to the street. All these things, because her husband's son, she didn't have any children, was a very religious Jew, and he didn't believe in Baba, of course. So he was going to throw it out, and he said to Etzion, if you want, take what you want, or else I'm going to throw it out. So Etzion did salvage it, and that's how we have all these pamphlets, all these very old pamphlets and things in Etzion's archive, actually. And one day they will pass on to any of the Baba archives. So thank you, Adi, for doing all this. And my impressions of Adi, that he was strong and wow, a lot of energy. He was like a pack of energy, like his body was packed with energy. And if I heard him on any of the videos, he would speak so strongly. And he would be one of these that were just saying the truth as is on the table, whether you like it or you don't like it. And very courageous Baba lover, and very beautiful one. And I just want to add to the bio, and I think it's important that the last few months of Baba, before he passed away, we talked about it, Karen, last time that I heard you reading this, and that Baba did not allow him to see him for a few months before he passed away. And I don't remember how many months, but it was quite long. And Adi was just heartbroken, because he still had to bring all the mail to Baba, and Baba ordered that the mail would be taken at the gate, and he will not be able to even put his foot into Meherabad. And he was so heartbroken. And I don't know who Baba said was his wife when he was Shivaji. I think he said that Adi was, but I'm not sure about that. And I remember one day that Baba showed a lot of love to one of the disciples, one of his mandali. And Adi was so jealous. He was so full of jealousy. And he came to Baba and he talked about it. So I always remember him loving Baba so much, so strongly. And like Brabazon that said, I want to be your bride in one of the ghazals that he wrote. I think that Adi was in the same position. You know, one of the men, Mandali, that totally fell in love with all their heart with Baba, not in a feminine way, in a masculine way. You can fall in love with someone who's so charming as our Baba. It's easy to fall in love when we are women, but the men fell in love with it too. So these are two things. Now, with the thing that Baba did not allow Adi to come at these months, he actually prepared him for the fact that he would drop the body and Adi would be on his 2 feet and be able to manage and to be informing everyone in the world about, and not falling in his heart with the death, with the passing away of Baba. Baba did not die. We know that Baba did not die because he's living in our relationship, and we know that. So that was why he did not allow, he put Adi through that kind of torture, heart torture. So these are things, Adi and all the Mandali, wow, Baba, but you trained them to be such beauties. Thank you, Baba, and thank you all. Thank you, Adi. Jai Baba.
Thanks, McCall. Yeah, I remember, well, Karen said that Adi stayed up for 48 hours, sending out all the news that Baba had passed. And yeah, I remembered that story too, that that separation from Baba helped him to be strong when
I just don't remember how many months that was, but it was quite a long time. That's what I remember. But maybe I'm not so right about that. Should be searched.
Thanks, Michael. Ron? You're muted, Ron.
I was going to say that having read Adi's book, Just to Love Him, and hearing people tell their firsthand stories or even secondhand stories of being with him and the various things that he did, I don't know if I would necessarily share those. Probably people have heard these stories anyhow, but just my own experiences of being around Adi, in person. There was signing in, registering in 73, he was there at the office registering people and all himself. And when he came to the United States, I was there at Pilgrim Pines for the LA Sahabas. There were like 300 people there, and Adi was one of the main speakers. And then when he came to the Bay Area, he hung out with us in various venues, even in a small group. So I had these opportunities just to be around him. And what I want to say is what my impression is. And what it is that he was so full of Baba and that prayer that was so perfect. It fit Adi so perfect. The prayer that was that Karen read out. That prayer was answered for Adi, and because he was so full of this strength, and every part of him was such that he was not full of himself. He was kind of empty of himself. And that thus he could be with us Baba lovers, and as a Baba lover. It wasn't anything, nothing, it was nothing special that he was trying to impart or impress us with of who he was. It was that he had something to offer us. He felt it was something that would benefit, just hearing his own experiences with Baba, which I think maybe some or all of us here feel as well, that we have experiences with Baba, and Baba wanted us to share it with other people. Why? Because it could be valuable, could draw us closer to Baba through sharing those experiences. And that's what he was doing. He wasn't doing anything else. He didn't have anything to prove or anything. And I just think when McCall says that he was charming, I think that was part of his charm, is that he was just a fellow lover of Baba. And those of us who got to hang around him at various times were blessed by his camaraderie. That's sort of what I wanted to impart.
Thanks, Ron. I have a couple of things to share. Oops, did you have more? No.
I'm sorry. I thought I was lowering my hand. I raised it again. Sorry.
When we were at LA Sahabas, I think this was 77, you could have a personal interview with Adi. So I just remember the incredible feeling in that little room. It was night, it was a little dark. It was just like, oh my goodness, it was so strong. He had such power. He had such power. It was overwhelming just to sit there with him. And so that's one thing that I remember. But they called him the Lion. And yeah, it was, I'll never forget that feeling, the intensity of that time. And there was, and on that same subject, the Euchers were dear friends of mine, Margaret and Don Euchre. And Don told a story about Don at one time, and I could say this now, he's passed. He had to spend some time in I believe it was prison for he was a Wall Street guy and was caught up in some kind of a scandal. And so he was a teacher. This is now Don Euchre. He would teach during the week, and he would go to prison on the weekends to serve out his time. And when Adi was there visiting, I guess it was, I don't know, 71 or 77. Anyway, he went to see Don in prison, and Don said that there was another fellow, also I think a fellow who, big powerful guy himself, a big powerful black guy is what he said, and he remarked I don't know, he saw Don visit Adi. He said that dude has power. He said that so that was what Don said about Adi. So any more shares?
Karen is
Muted,
there.
Karen.
Karen.
Oh,
Unmute, Karen.
Can you hear me now?
mm-hmm.
Okay. So I also had a personal interview with Adi. And this was in 1979 when he was at the Meher Center. And I was thinking whether to come to California with Alan Talbot. And so Jack Small was, signing people up for interviews, and I asked for an interview. And then when I went to my interview, Adi asked if I was married or unmarried, if I was happy or unhappy. And so the interview started, and I said, well, I'm really thinking now, like, why did I bother Adi with this? But it's a good story. So I said, Adi, I'm thinking of going to California with this Alan Talbot, and I'm not sure what to do. actually, I probably thought I was going to go anyway, but he said, well, tell me about him. What does he do? And I said, well, he's in law school. And Adi said, who paid for it? Who's paying for it? And I said, Adi, he had a business, Holy Foods in Berkeley, and he has money, so he's paying for his law school. And Adi said, go. So my question was answered. But I think he also said, is his father paying for it? And I said, no. And I explained. And so Adi said, very good, go. And I did. No, you're not old.
Till this very day.
Oh, Adi,
Mm.
Alan has a good story. The why and why not.
Well,
Yeah.
okay. I don't know where I am here. Can you?
can sit here.
No, just stay there.
It works.
I don't know. Can you see me?
Yep, you see.
Are you comfortable?
Yeah, I'm comfortable. But without Betty, I'm not really totally comfortable, but I'm comfortable. Well, anyway,
Without Karen, without.
yeah. Well, I'll tell two stories from '79 about Adi. When we got interviews, like Karen mentioned, I had nothing to ask Adi. We were friends for years. But I figured I'd go over and hang out with him and Jack Small. And they were in the farm shed. So it was just the three of us. So Jack said, you got anything you want to say? I said, no, of course not. So I said, but listen to this story. I'm coming on the plane here to Myrtle Beach. And all of a sudden, and this, by the way, this never happened before or after, the plane got increasingly hotter. And I had this thought, if they don't put some oxygen in this plane, or we're all going to suffocate to death pretty soon. And as soon as I thought that thought, those masks came down. You know, no one's ever seen these masks come down. So the mask comes down. And I thought, wow, do I get up and tell everybody to take Baba's name if the plane's going down? This is the thoughts that are going through my mind. And then all of a sudden the oxygen came back onto the airplane and the masks retracted. So Adi and Jack are listening to this story and they were like, their eyes were bug-eyed. This is, you know, because that had not happened to anybody. So I said, so that's my question. I thought about that after I was breathing again. And I thought, no, I won't get up, because if everybody gets up who tells everybody the plane's going down and take somebody's name that they're a member of a religion or a group, it'd be chaotic on the plane. Plus, how would you get out of your seatbelt? So I said, I decided I keep Baba's name to myself. If people wanted to pray to God, if we were all going to go down, that would be their business. And plus, if some crazy guy gets up and starts screaming, take Mayor Baba's name, they don't know who Mayor Baba is. So after I was done, I think I had more facts, but after I was done, they both agreed that that was a good move, not to have stood up and taken Baba's name if the plane was actually going to crash. So that was my quote interview in '79. Unlike Karen, I wasn't being interviewed to get married or anything like that. Now, while Adi was there, I had just finished that second year of law school, and because he wasn't going anywhere except Washington. He wasn't coming to the West Coast like he had in the past. So I went, but I figured if I'm Myrtle Beach, we were only allowed a week. I wasn't going to just stay a week. So without getting into a long story, which is quite interesting, Lynott had just separated from Phyllis, and he was in his own section. So I was allowed to stay there the other 2 weeks. So I was able to go to all of Adi's talks. So after a few days, Adi would walk around the center if he saw somebody and go, why? And nobody answered him. So finally one day, I said to him, why not? And he started laughing. He says, I like that. So every time he would give a talk now, he would get up on stage, and I would always be sitting up front with Lynn, because Lynn was blind and we would always sit in front. I don't know why, but anyway, we did. So Adi would point to me and say, this man. I would say, why? And he said, why not? And then he would start laughing with that fantastic laugh. Now, after 3 weeks, we left and Karen and I moved out to California. And I was in LA for Jack Borman and Rainey Eastman's wedding. Jack was living down there then. And after the wedding, we were going to Phyllis's house for a party at Phyllis's house. So Phyllis was sitting shotgun in the front, and I was behind her in the back seat. So she turned around while we were driving, was starting to laugh and said, listen to this story. Adi called me earlier. He's in Washington, excuse me, with the Sufis. And he's telling the story about when he was in Myrtle Beach. He started asking everybody at the center this one question, why? And I'm just sitting there listening, and she's laughing, and she's telling me when Adi's telling the story, he's laughing, and she's laughing during the story, and she's laughing, telling me the story. So I'm just sitting there quietly. And after she finishes the story, went on a little bit, I said, and the answer to that question, who answered why? Why not? That was me. And then Phyllis started laughing. So she had a quadruple laugh. She had the laugh from Adi, the laugh telling me this, no, she had a triple laugh. And the laugh when I told her I was the why not guy. So anyway, those are a couple humorous Adi K Irani stories. I have others, but Karen told me I'm done. Jai Baba.
Why not?
So that's the answer to the question, why? Well, is Candy, is that Candy? Hi, Candy. Go ahead. I can't tell who's there.
Hi, it's Candy.
So Ralph, you don't have any Adi stories? Didn't you meet him?
A short one. 1971, I got out of the army in Germany and flew straight to Bombay and then to Meherabad. And in Bombay, I met with Jal and Dolly Dastur. Spent the overnighted with them. It was raining cats and dogs at Bombay. And they told me, they said, Charles Haynes and John Leiter arrived earlier in the day. They picked me up at night. And they said we took them to the train station. And now we know they are still there because no trains have departed because the tracks are flooded going out and they can't leave. So they're still sitting on the train. And if the tracks are still flooded in the morning, we'll get you on the same car, and the same train and car with John and Charles. I said, okay. And so we bedded down. It was night, I mean, I'm all intrigued with being there. It was my first time. So I did go to Darshan in '69. And it's so mysterious and like that. And Jal and Dolly were wonderful. They just took me in. It was quite simple. We just got there. It was late, went to bed. Well, I don't know if they had a bedroom or what, but they put me as like a window seat, and the Dolly built a thing there. This is off the subject. Now you've gotten me down a rabbit hole. And she bedded me down on that window seat. And then they made a pallet on the floor right beneath the window seat. And they slept there on the floor right beneath me. And we stayed up talking and stayed there in the dark talking, till we fell asleep. And bright and early we were up, and we hopped a taxi. He escorted me to Victoria Station, and John and Charles were still there in the train waiting for the tracks to clear. They got me on the train, and it was some hours before we were able to move, but we finally did. We got there, and I don't know how long we'd been there, but Adi told Charles, he says, I have an engagement. The superintendent of schools for Ahmednagar for this district has asked me to go on a tour with him of all his schools and talk about Baba, and for a day trip. He says, I'd like for you and your companions to go with me. So the three of us went. In the back seat, Nadi sat in the front seat with the superintendent, and there was never stop in conversation between them. And we were just in the back seat. Well, I don't know how many schools we went to, but it was a bunch. Some were high schools, some were colleges, and some were high school and grade school all together. And they got everybody piled into like a big meeting room or auditorium in most cases. And Adi would say the three prayers and then give his talk. Well, we got to one school, and Adi was saying the Master's Prayer, got lost in thought and couldn't remember the prayer and couldn't remember the words to the prayer. And so he says, anybody have a copy of this prayer? I've lost the words of prayer. And it was so natural. It didn't bother him, that he couldn't remember the prayer. And he'd already said it a few times that day. In the course of, it was like on his agenda to say the prayer and then give the talk. And so Charles helped, and they got through the prayer. They got the words put back together and got through the prayer. And on a number of occasions also, Adi would talk, and then he would introduce Charles, who, having met Baba like that, and was in divinity school, that he wanted Charles to give a little talk also. So Charles got up and gave a talk, and somebody would interpret the English to the language where we were. That was, so it was a long day, and I know I got very tired. And driving, it was dark when we got back to Meherabad, and it still, Adi remained like no fatigue. He remained, just kept conversation going with the superintendent the whole way. And we got, even Charles and John, the three of us got so like, we were just being mashed to mud, and we ended up in the floorboard in the back seat, the three of us huddled up down in the floorboard of the back seat, and I started singing the Hank Mendlin's Artie, I think. One of the Western Arties. I started singing that, and Charles laughs. He says, Ralph, that's good, but I didn't even recognize the tune. I didn't know what you were singing till I started listening to the words. I said, first time I ever realized I was kind of tone deaf. And it never came to anyone's attention. I don't think Adi ever commented that, what are these three grown men doing down in the floorboard? The back of the car.
Why were you down there? I didn't get that. Why were you?
Because we were, we couldn't take it anymore. We were trying to find a way, a place to hide, to find a sanctuary that we could exist.
To hide from what? From Adi's.
Adi, from Adi, yeah, just from the trip, the whole day, and Adi's continuing dialogue with, and yet that principal, that superintendent of schools, he was in there, he was driving, he was right in there with every word, responsive and alert. I'm sure Baba kept him that way, you know. I hope. But we couldn't, we just, you know, it wasn't really hardly a conscious that we didn't, it just happened, just slid, just melted.
That reminds me of people going with Baoji on the tour and everyone getting so tired. And Baoji, you know, still active and energy. I think that's the way with the same thing with Baba. You know, he used to go and he was energized and all the others were pooped. So this is what it reminds me of. Thank you for your share, Joel.
Yeah.
You're very fortunate to have met so many Mandali and
Right.
been so close with them.
Thank you, Baba. Yeah.
I wanted to say that back to my interview with Adi. I debated talking. I wasn't gonna say, but I'm just gonna. When I was looking for videos to show, I came across looking for videos yesterday about Adi. I came across a little. It was Susan Smith talking just briefly about her time with Adi, and she said I don't. We talked with Adi about our sex life, and it was totally. I was like, wow. So because I did the same thing with Adi. At the time, my husband wasn't a Baba lover, and I was reading the discourses, and you're not supposed to use contraceptives, and we couldn't afford another child. And how, you know, what do I do? This is what I talked to Adi about, and I just kicked myself for years after that, thinking, what an idiot! You had this chance with Adi, and you. And it was such a relief to hear that somebody else had a similar question. And his response, this is kind of embarrassing. He said, I tell the Indian women to douche after intercourse. And, and that is how our daughter Shireen came into being 2 years later. So there. And I have just been embarrassed that I would say such a thing to talk to. It was my opportunity with Adi. It all worked out. He became a Baba. It was all fine. And I was always worried about money. It was what it came down to. Oh, we can't afford a child. So so anyway, thank you, Baba. Thank you, Susan Smith, for lowering the bar at the top. He was, and I said something else to him, but I don't remember anything more than that, what that one question was.
Is that Susan of Daryl and Susan?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. That makes it all the better a story. Yeah.
That was the Mandali, you know. They weren't ashamed of talking of anything, but Baba wasn't either. He talked to them about celibacy and everything. I wanted to say that another woman who was in the compound of the trust was Adi Jr.'s wife, because they had a whole family there, a whole family connection, and Shireen's mother, Franny, Franny, Adi Jr.'s wife, was living in the compound too. And she was the one that Baba told Adi to marry. He made the match. And then he also told them to go to England and to be in England. So
He made the match with Franny.
yeah, he made the match. He told them to get married, and he told them who, he told his brother who to marry. And she was also in that compound. And in that compound, there was, this Kaikhushru, Sarosh's father, who was very against Baba all the time. He was against Baba, though Sarosh was such a lover of Baba, and Gulmai and Adi and Rustom served him so much. And this young Franny, who got married to Adi Jr., and then Kaikhushru Masa, who was Gulmai's husband, also became a Baba lover. So yeah, and I just heard, by the book that is read by Meherabad, that Gulmai, that Shirin, Baba's mother, and Gulmai were related, were family related, in second cousins or something. So this also was very new. So this whole family compound was actually related to Baba through his mother.
The family that lived at Kushru quarters. Is that what you're talking about?
The Kushru quarters compound of the where all the families lived together. Then Shirin was related to Gulmai through second cousin or something. So, and they were all, of course, related to Katie and Goher's family as well. So it's all, like, Baba said that when he had this film written, it's in the end of Lord Mayor. This film written where he describes families. He describes the life of three characters who go through the Stone Age and through different incarnations, and then they become, at the end, they become brothers of this one who is going to be God realized. And so he says, you come in groups, and you have these relationships through your reincarnations, and then when one gets to be God realized, then the whole group is also very much has a part in this, a great part in it, a great benefit in it. So it's not surprising, but just learning about all these relationships, and Adi was in the midst of that, and he, most of the Mandali, they were with Baba, either in Meherabad under his direction, or in Meherabad, or wherever he went, in his travels and things. And Adi was actually a long time in Kushru quarters, just staying there and being sort of a pivotal being, like a pivotal light, but alone, and in this not easy environment, with all the relationships of the families there, the complications, his sisters, his mother, his father, his other Kaikhushru, and so on. And then Baba sends Mehernas, sends Babaji's family to live with him. He sends Donkin to live with him. So yeah, not simple life.
I know Joanna and Jay Janice, who live at Kushru quarters now, said that Rama Bauji's wife, they live at Kushru quarters as well. Rama.
Yeah, that's what I said. Bauji's wife and children. They at the beginning they lived in Meherabad, and they lived with the family quarters, and then they moved. So Karen mentioned that they moved in your bio. You mentioned that they moved to Kushal quarters when Baba wanted the children to be in schools in Ahmednagar. So that's when they moved there. Yeah.
I think Joanna said that they were told that as long as Rama was alive, that they were to live there. The family was to live there. Now they live there now.
Yeah.
I don't know if they have another home as well in Marinath and
Yeah, they have in Meherabad, but Marinath has his office there. He's working. He's a trustee.
yeah. Maybe
Mother MP is works with him in his English work. So he's a trustee, and he's a lawyer, and he's doing law work for the trust.
But I thought they also lived there.
They live there. Yeah, they live there. Yeah, they live there. They have behind his office. They have, and Bauchi used to go there and in the evenings from his office. He used to from his room. He used to go there in the evenings, and they used to. Rama used to give him some drink of fruit that he could drink, and yeah.
So I think we've exhausted the subject.
No, you can't exhaust Adi. You can't exhaust any of the Mandali. No, you can't exhaust them. but we exhausted ourselves, like Ralph said, you were sitting with him and they were exhausted. So
that was so
oh,
fun.
Nancy has her hand up.
Great. That's good.
Hi.
Hi.
It's good to hear all the stories. Jai Baba.
Hey, Baba.
What I wanted to share, Just to Love Him, is one of my favorite books by Adi. There's a lot in here about the heart and Baba in our heart. And I think Ron, what he mentioned, this kind of reflects on it a bit. It's the heightened depth of doing Baba work chapter, just a short little paragraph. It's written, while doing Baba work, a worker needs to develop a twofold quality of nature. One pertains to his relationship with Baba, and the other to his attitude toward others. Love for Baba and faith in him is basic, but this is not enough. This can qualify him only for work and evoke an urge to do the work. To be fully successful requires an adjustment toward others, a sympathetic understanding, and a harmonious working out of aims and objectives. And it goes on about a brilliant lover may be a poor worker, and a poor lover may be a brilliant worker. With the height of love for Baba, there should be the depth of understanding for others.
Wow. That's beautiful, Nancy. Thank you for reading that.
It's a beautiful book, Just to Love Him by Adi. Talks and essays about Meher Baba. Thank you, Baba, for Adi.
Thank you for sharing your love.
Well, I think that's probably a good place to close, right? Thank you, Baba. Thank you, Baba, for this time giving us Adi. What a giant, what a lion. Thank you all. Thank you, Baba.
Jai Meher Baba.
Yeah, we can do that. Avatar, Meher Baba Ki Jai.
Jai.
Avatar, Meher Baba
Meher
Ki
Baba
Jai.
Ki Jai.
Avatar,
Avatar
Meher
Meher
Baba
Baba Ki Jai.
Jai. Thank you, thank
What
you.
about our birthday question? Did Karen, did you have time to look into that?
About, oh.
You're muted, Karen, you're muted.
Important to share, sadly. But Pendu's birthday was August the 5th. And
Oh.
during the this meeting on Baba's Zoom, I received an email from Kim Wachowski, which I'm sure she would like me to share. And Walter did pass this morning.
Oh,
So if any of you have any questions, I'm happy. What I know, I can read the email she sent.
You'll stop the recording at this, yeah.